and welcome to this week's programme. And as the winter nights set in, it's much darker out there, much earlier, isn't it? And it does really feel like winter. I remember those months, just a few months ago, when doing the news programme, the sun was beaming through the window and I was hot and had to have the fan on. But we will get back there, so you're very welcome this evening. I thought this week, as I've really focused on coronavirus and the national news over recent weeks, I'm not going to mention it too much, other than to say, unfortunately, the rates are still increasing of those testing positive, those being admitted to hospital, and unfortunately, those dying. And that applies to our area as much as anywhere else, where the figures are definitely still on an upward trend. However, let's think about local news. And let's think about the standard flu. Public Health Dorset are encouraging people who are entitled to get the flu vaccine and have not done so to get it done as soon as possible. They're telling us that the best way to keep yourself and your loved ones protected from flu is by getting the flu vaccine. Many people are eligible to get it free of charge because they're at more risk than others. And that is the over 65s, pregnant women, children aged 2 and 3, pupils in reception class and school years 1 to 7, people with long-term health conditions such as asthma, COPD and cardiovascular issues, frontline health and social care staff, and people who are living with someone who was on the NHS shielded list. All of those people are entitled to have the flu vaccine free of charge, and Public Health Dorset are urging you to make contact with your GP practice or your local pharmacist about getting that flu vaccine as soon as possible. So there's something to think about. Dorset Police are investigating some criminal damage to a boat in Weymouth and have issued a CCTV image of a man they'd like to speak to, and that's now up on the screen. It's not very clear, unfortunately, but that's as good as it gets. They received a report that around 9:30 on Monday the 26th of October, so it is going back a little way, that a bottle had caused damage to the windscreen of a boat in the harbour. Officers have carried out a number of inquiries, including checking CCTV in the area, and they've now identified that this individual was in the area around the time the incident occurred on 11:30 p.m. on Friday the 23rd of October. Now, CCTV has only recently been issued in the last couple of days, and Police Community Support Investigator Tom Reynolds of Weymouth said the incident caused a significant amount of damage to the boat, causing around £2,000 to repair. If anybody recognises the individual or knows anything at all about this incident, if they could contact Dorset Police on 101 or as usual anonymously through Crime Stoppers on 0800 555 111. Now an interesting one now. Dorset County Museum have this week appealed for donations to help save part of a mosaic, and you can see the mosaic up on the screen. This was found in a Roman villa in Dorset. The 1,600-year-old Roman floor panel showing a leopard attacking an antelope was unearthed by archaeologists in Dewlish in 1974. The mosaic measures 2 metres by 2.4 metres and was discovered in the grounds of Dewlish House, and it's thought to have formed part of the flooring of a Roman villa. The acquisition will present a perfect opportunity to reunite this mosaic with 2 other fragments from the same mosaic, which are already cared for at Dorset County Museum. Dr. John Murden, the museum's director, said it's a critical part of this county's heritage, as well as being internationally significant. I'm incredibly confident that we will be able to purchase it, so confident that we have already identified a place for it when the museum reopens in 2021 following a £16 million redevelopment. The mosaic is currently subject to an export ban, which means that it can't be taken out of the country. This was originally going to expire in October, but the government have extended it to January 2021 to give the museum time to raise the extra funds. Now it's indicated its intention to buy the mosaic. If the campaign is successful, the mosaic will be installed in the newly developed museum, which will reopen in 2021. So if you would like to help with that, you can donate online by going to the Dorset County Museum website and following the Help Us Secure the Julius Mosaic link. You could be helping to secure a bit of heritage that hopefully should stay in Dorset for people to see in the future. Okay, moving on to our first major story this week. Last Sunday at around 2 o'clock, a massive fire broke out at Dorset Council's Crook Hill plant at Chickerell. The fire, which I definitely say is significant if you've seen any of the footage of it, wiped out 16 collection vehicles for rubbish, recycling and garden waste, and 5 other vehicles used for cleaning and maintenance. The fire was fought by around 90 firemen from across Dorset and 15 fire engines and other specialist vehicles attended. Now, if you haven't seen any of the footage or pictures from the fire, I'm going to show them to you now, and they come courtesy of Dorset Wiltshire Fire and Rescue and various Facebook The fire itself caused several £1 million worth of damage, as you can imagine, with the collection trucks being very expensive items. Dorset Council immediately suspended all rubbish collection services, as you would expect, with all of their vehicles having been damaged. However, surprisingly, they were able to resume collections within a couple of days, which personally I think is rather amazing. They brought in bin lorries from as far away as Manchester, Chepstow and Northampton. Tim Wilford from Dorset Council said, "Fortunately, after the fire on Sunday, we were able to hit the ground running on Monday morning and make arrangements for the delivery of hire vehicles into Crook Hill. So far, we have hired 3 26-ton refuse collection vehicles and a smaller 16-ton vehicle. These, along with vehicles in the existing Dorset Council fleet that have been borrowed from other depots, have enabled us to resume collections of black bin rubbish." The council also received lots of messages from hire companies offering their services and other offers of support from other local waste collection businesses. The council very much appreciated all the efforts and support and help they got, and want to thank everyone for their help in getting things back on track and for everybody's support. Personally, as a council taxpayer myself, I have to say I've been incredibly impressed by the response to this major fire by the council staff and how quickly they've got things back up and running again within 24 to 48 hours. And I think they should all be commended for keeping our local waste collection service going under such difficult circumstances. Moving on. Despite rumours that Christmas is cancelled this year, I can assure you it isn't. However, we do know for all of us it will be very different. Christmas dinners for work or family or for groups or organisations we're involved in will probably be cancelled. What we do and don't do for Christmas dinner this year with our own families will be different or limited. And how we do our Christmas shopping will also have to be considered, with many of us resorting to online shopping rather than going out to local shops or those trips away to the major towns nearby that have better shops than we have locally. This will mean for all of us that it's very different, But for some, like our local pubs, restaurants and shops, who rely on Christmas as probably the busiest time of the year and of major income to them, it's going to be a massive problem. So do think of all of those businesses at this time. Of course, our local churches are at the heart of Christmas. In fact, Christmas is central to the Christian faith. But what about where it all comes from? The Bible doesn't actually give us a date for the birth of Jesus. In the 3rd century, it was suggested that Jesus was conceived at the spring equinox, the 25th of March, popularising the belief that he was born 9 months later on the 25th of December. John Chrysostom, the Archbishop of Constantinople, encouraged Christians worldwide to make Christmas a holy day around 1600 years ago in the year 400. In the early Middle Ages, Christians celebrated a series of midwinter holy days. Epiphany, which recalls the visits of the infant Jesus of the wise men bearing gifts, was the climax of 12 days of Christmas, beginning on the 25th of December. The Emperor Charlemagne chose 25th of December for his coronation in the year 800, and the prominence of Christmas Day rose. In England, William the Conqueror also chose the 25th of December for his coronation in 1066, and the date became a fixture both for religious observance and feasting. But of course, the biggest change was in the 1800s. By the 1820s, the significance of Christmas was declining. Charles Dickens was one of several writers who sought to restore it. His novel, A Christmas Carol, was significant in reviving merriment during the festival. He emphasised charity and family reunions alongside a religious observance. Christmas trees, paper chains, cards and many well-known carols date from this time. So did the tradition of Boxing Day on the 26th of December, when tradesmen who had given reliable service during the year would collect boxes of money or gifts from their customers. So that's where Boxing Day comes from, boxes of money. So as I said, it's going to be different this year from a church perspective, but Christmas has changed many, many times since it started all those years ago. There will be services and carol services and all the usual things that church does on midnight mass and Christmas Eve and those sorts of things. But for many of them, they will be online rather than in person this year, and we will have to join them from our own homes. Brother Alistair, the rector of White Regis, is now going to tell us a bit about what the church in White Regis is going to hopefully do this Christmas.
Okay. Deck the halls with bells of holly, fa la 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 la. Hello everybody. Well, if there's number one question I'm being asked constantly at the moment is, what's happening with Christmas? And I don't think even Boris Johnson, God bless him, knows what's happening with Christmas. But we do this, that we will be celebrating the birth of our wonderful Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ. So these are our plans at present, and never in my whole life have I been planning Christmas at the end of November. I am one of those people who wants to have Christmas tied up and sorted by the end of September, but it's just not been possible. Now, I think all of us are probably going to be glad to see the back of 2020. However, we want to celebrate the end of 2020 in the best way that we can. So here is what we have got planned. On Sunday, the 20th of December at 6 p.m, I'm waiting. Gary's behind the camera and nodding at me as I go. At 6 p.m, there will be a live stream service of 9 lessons and carols. The traditional carols by candlelight will be streamed from this church, and you can watch it at home with your mince pies and your sherry or your Baileys or your mint holly Baileys or whatever it is you have with your mince pie. You can do that on the 20th of December at 6 p.m. The next evening, how many of you remember back in the spring we were clapping for carers and coming out of our homes and clapping and celebrating and giving thanks for our wonderful NHS? Well, this Christmas, right across the country, I'm discovering that this is breaking out all over the place, that people are doing what's called carols on your doorstep. And what we will be doing this is simply at 7 p.m. we will be having a small group of choristers in here, a small number of people from the Weymouth Concert Town Brass Band will be playing at the back of church, all socially distanced, and we will be live streaming carols and Christmas songs from here, from the Church of All Saints, White Regis. And carols, what used to be carols on the square, they're joining in with this, and they're singing it from their homes. And the idea will be at 7 o'clock, come out with your, I don't know, whatever you're drinking to keep yourself warm, and your Christmas jumper and your elf hat or whatever it might be, and let's come out into the open air and sing and celebrate Christmas together. So we are hoping that we can do that, because we haven't been able to do much singing this year, and so we just feel that on that particular night, in the safe, socially distanced way we can do it, within our families or our bubbles, we can sing the praises of God and let the world know that Christmas is coming. We will also, on the evening of Christmas Eve, there will be a live-streamed special for Christmas for children and families. And the time will be at 4 o'clock. And at 4 o'clock on Christmas Eve, we will live stream that out to families, and you will be able to see that on our different platforms of Facebook, Twitter or YouTube. Later that night, we will be having a traditional midnight mass. Now, because of COVID restrictions, if churches are allowed to be open, we will have a capacity of around 50 people, and that service will be ticketed. It's going to be ticketed for two reasons: that we have to monitor the numbers of people attending, but we also have to put everybody through track and trace. So when we know if we can open, we will let everybody know, and you can go online to our website and you'll be able to book in advance for all those who are wanting to attend midnight mass. For the Church of All Saints in St Edmunds on Christmas morning, if we are able to be open, we are going to have a very small, maximum capacity, 25, service of Holy Communion at St Edmund's Church. But they will be the only live services that we will be able to put on, and again, because of restrictions, the numbers will be limited. Now, I want to wish you, if you don't see this before, a really Merry Christmas. We look forward to celebrating this wonderful season where we remember God so loved the world that he sent his only son, Jesus, so that we might have relationship with God and we might know forgiveness of sins and healing for our world. An opportunity probably to reflect also that this has been a very hard year for all of us. And this can be a time where we can give thanks to God and also pray and remember our loved ones. May God bless you, and may you have a very Merry Christmas. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Alistair. And the information about Carols on Your Doorstep has started to go out this afternoon on all the social media platforms. So do put that date in your diary of 7 o'clock on Monday the 21st of December, when the Church at White joins together with those people that run the carols in White Square around the Christmas tree, and we do a joint event with the music coming from basically a studio built in All Saints Church, and streaming it out to you in your own home, so you can listen on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, etc., and then come out onto your doorstep and sing along to that music, and hopefully we'll be able to hear each other out there and make a merry sound across White Regis. As we said, on Christmas Eve at 4 o'clock, we won't be able to have our usual balloon service in the church where we normally have 300 plus people. Again, there will be a family friendly service broadcast out for families and for their children, appropriate for them at Christmas time. So yeah, things will be different, but we're all trying our best to keep Christmas special and to provide something for everyone. Now, the good news, the real good news this week, is I don't have any birthdays yet again, so I won't be playing that dodgy jingle. If anybody wants to buy me something for Christmas, they can buy me a new birthday jingle, or they can find me a new birthday jingle. It will have to be one that we don't have a problem with copyright on, though. That's the only thing. Okay, moving on. We've touched on Christmas a bit already this evening, And I guess that's inevitable. It's only a few weeks up to Christmas now, isn't it? And the Christmas stories we're going to be having each week, I guess, as things come out. Well, the good news is the government did announce earlier today that Christmas tree sellers can actually start preparing and selling their trees. They were one of the groups of people that weren't supposed to be trading. So that's good news. We can still have our Christmas trees. Of course, Christmas trees are one of the symbols of Christmas we're all familiar with. Other things such as carol singing and holly and the ivy, etc. Well, this week, Janet's going to look at another one, the mistletoe. And have you ever thought about the mistletoe, where it comes from, why we use mistletoe? Well, that's what Janet's been up to this week. So let's hear from Janet now.
Hello again. Do you remember a few weeks ago I was telling you about ivy and we were trying to discover whether it was friend or foe? Along with holly, another plant that we use when decorating for Christmas is, of course, mistletoe. Unlike holly and ivy, mistletoe doesn't grow in gardens and hedgerows. You can get it, of course, from the greengrocer's shop or find it high in a tree, well out of reach. Mistletoe is a parasite, and although its leaves enable it to feed itself through photosynthesis, its roots invade the host tree or shrub and extract water and other nutrients. So undoubtedly, if you were the tree that it had chosen to grow on, for you it would be foe. Its favourite host trees are apple, lime, hawthorn, poplar or oak, and it normally hangs as a large globe, tantalisingly high and totally visible once winter arrives and it is the only green left on the tree. You may have seen some spectacular examples in Windsor Great Park, clearly visible from the path on the opposite side of the River Thames. We all know about the almost translucent white berries, fleshy and sticky, which form on the forks of mistletoe's many branches. While they're toxic to humans, they're very attractive to birds. When birds have enjoyed the juicy flesh, they wipe the remaining seeds off their beaks onto the nearest branch, somewhat like children wiping sticky hands on any surface close by, mummy's face or clothes. With luck, the seed remains stuck to the bark and solves mistletoe's problem of reproduction. In Greek mythology, mistletoe gave access to the underworld, and Romans thought it represented peace, love, and understanding. So perhaps that's how it got into our Christmas celebrations. So why do we kiss under the mistletoe? Well, another famous chapter in mistletoe folklore comes from Norse mythology. The story goes that when the god Odin's son Balder was prophesied to die, his mother Frigg, the goddess of love, went to all the animals and plants of the natural world to secure an oath that they would not harm him. But Frigg neglected to consult with the unassuming mistletoe, so the scheming and god Loki made an arrow from the plant and saw that it was used to kill the otherwise invincible Balder. According to one sunnier version of the myth, the gods were able to resurrect Balder from the dead. Delighted, Frigg then declared a mistletoe a symbol of love and vowed to plant a kiss on all those who passed underneath it. By the 18th century, mistletoe had become widely incorporated into Christmas celebrations. Just how it made the jump from sacred herb to holiday decoration remains up for debate. But the kissing tradition appears to have first caught on among servants in England before spreading to the middle classes. As part of the early custom, men were allowed to steal a kiss from any woman caught standing under the mistletoe, and refusing was thought of as bad luck. Yet another tradition instructed the merrymakers to pluck a single berry from the mistletoe with each kiss, and to stop smooching once they were all gone. I'm not sure how much kissing you'll be allowed to do this Christmas, but never mind, there's always next year for keeping up these good old traditions. Bye for now.
Thanks, Janet, and I wonder how much you learnt about the mistletoe there that you didn't know. Always useful to look back how some of these traditions are actually started, and I'm sure in the weeks ahead we'll find a few more we can look back at and see what we can learn, because I'm learning as well. I learned about Boxing Day today. I didn't know where Boxing Day had come from. I assumed that there were boxing matches on the day after Christmas, not that it was a box for collecting money that you then gave to tradesmen. Our next story tonight has actually caused me some dismay over recent weeks. I've read stories in the local papers about fly tipping. This is when somebody just dumps their rubbish in a farm gate, a council car park, a nature reserve, etc. And it is becoming a real problem. And of course it has been exacerbated by the lockdown. Recently, firefighters were called to tackle a blaze on Powerstock Common. And I'll just show you the picture of what they found when they got there. Which is a nature reserve run by Dorset Wildlife Trust, and found it was one of the worst cases of fly tipping that's been seen in the area for a long time. Brian Bless, who is the Chief Executive of Dorset Wildlife Trust, said this is the worst case of fly tipping we've seen on our nature reserve in a long time, or nature reserves on a long time. This senseless act of vandalism not only makes a wonderful nature reserve unsightly and unattractive for visitors, which of course it does, it's also a major drain on the charity's resources because they have to clear it up, it's on their land, and also, more importantly, it's a real threat to wildlife. So it's a problem on many fronts. Unsightly, costly to clear up, and obviously a real threat to wildlife. One person who has been suffering from fly tipping in his area and is trying to raise awareness of it nationally is someone called the Funky Farmer. His real name is Rich Cornock, and he farms in South Gloucestershire. He's well known for speaking out on farming matters on social media, and is often to be found on BBC Radio on farming programmes. So I thought we'd go off and we would hear from Rich, the Funky Farmer, about what he's found with fly tipping.
Oh, hello. I'm a bit grumpy this morning. Flipping fly tippers. I'm going to go along the road in a minute. I spotted yesterday when I was out the tractor a load of junk dumped by someone in the side of the neighbour's field gateway. So I'm going to go have a look, and I'm just going to have a little rant, because do you know what? Blooming fly tippers are a nightmare in the countryside. So we're going to have a look and I'll show you what's been dumped. So here we go. Someone's brilliant idea of a day out. They've just come along here, little quiet lane, and they've just dumped this here. You can tell from my voice I'm really angry. Look at this. This must be someone's bathroom cabinet. I don't know what those are. Kids' locks or something. Look at that, a vanity case. Someone's flipping, what's that, long johns or something, pants or something. I'm not going to look at those too closely. Someone's had a new kitchen, or I think it's a bathroom, isn't it? There's a lino there. Some plasterboard. That's in the bag. That's the tiles. Those are the ones they've taken out, I guess. Let's have a look. I'm gathering some evidence here. Look at that. There we go. Flipping nightmare. Numpties. Right. As you can tell from my voice, I'm not particularly happy about that. It's not my field, it's not my gateway, but it is our countryside. It's our countryside. So whoever's dumping that is dumping on you guys who are watching this. Realistically, people want a day out in the countryside. They have a lovely time walking in the fields and stuff, and then some numpty thinks, do you know what, I'll save myself a tenner rather than paying for that disposal, or I can't be bothered to go down the tip and chuck that in the recycling or the I'm just looking behind because I'm in the road. Just can't be bothered to sort that out. I mean, they could have actually put that in a wheelie bin. I mean, if you look at it, if you want to, over a period of time, you could have broken that up and just filtered a bit out every week or something. But that's either someone who's fitted their new bathroom, I think it's a bathroom, this is certainly a sink unit, because look, that bit goes around the base of a sink. They've fitted their new bathroom, and they've either thought, do you know what, I can't be bothered to dispose of this, or someone who's gone and worked for them has gone, do you know what, I can do that, I'll just get rid of that. Or they've paid someone who's unlicensed who's gone, do you know what, give me a tenner and I'll just bin that. But the whole point is, whoever you are complete. Oh, there's a Land Rover coming. I'm going to go, but I am really cross. You don't need to do that, please, people. No, I am cross. Just by the fact that someone probably had pride in putting a kitchen in, but they didn't have any pride about the countryside. They just chucked that on the ground. Do you know what? We're not the dustbin or the dumping ground of the world in the countryside. If you've got a bit of care, just be aware, you can take that somewhere and get rid of it, dispose of it. You don't need to just pollute the area, the beautiful planet we live on. Okay, so I could go on, but I think I finished. But you know what? Ridiculous.
There we go, that's Rich, the funky farmer, telling us about the problem of fly tipping, which is a big problem in the countryside, but it's also a problem in urban areas as well. And as he said, there's lots of ways of getting rid of the rubbish. You can take it to your local bulky household waste. You can store it over several weeks and break it up into small bits and put a little bit in the bin each week. Or you can pay a licensed waste carrier to come and pick it up. Of course, the thing is, those people who dump that stuff quite often get away with it. But if they don't get away with it, the good thing is the recourse is actually quite significant. So it is a criminal offence to fly tip, and if it goes to magistrates' court, it's up to a £50,000 fine and 12 months in prison. And if it goes to Crown Court, it's up to 5 years imprisonment and unlimited fine. So that's the message to get out there and to share with people, so that they know if they get caught, you know, they're not just going to get away with a £100 fine or a £50 fine. It's going to be a substantial fine, or they could go to prison. Now, of course, if you see any fly tipping near where you live, or if you're going out for a walk in the locality, or you're visiting anywhere else in the county, you can let Dorset Council know. There is a specific number of 01305 221040, or you can go online to the Dorset Council website and actually report it online as well. And they will follow up, they will investigate, and they will see if they can track down where the rubbish has come from and stop people doing it. So there we go. That's our little mission for this week and in the weeks ahead. So let's think about the week ahead. Nicely bringing us to the right part in the programme, and we'll have a look first of all at the national weather forecast.
Hello there. Blustery showers across Scotland and Northern Ireland today, where it will feel particularly chilly. Across parts of England and Wales, we've got cloudier skies today with outbreaks of rain, and that rain will gradually work its way south through Saturday afternoon. For parts of northern England, it should stay dry, fine and sunny, but across Scotland and Northern Ireland, those blustery showers will continue to drive their way in from the sea. It will be very windy across northern and western parts of Scotland today as well, with gales. Through tonight, the showers will continue across the north with a risk of hail and thunder and falling as snow over the mountains. It will continue to be windy across Scotland, particularly in the Northern Isles, with a risk of gusts of 70 miles per hour. Further south, we've got clear skies across central areas, but that cloud continues to linger along southern counties, persisting into Sunday, so still some further outbreaks of rain and drizzle, most likely towards the south coast. Through Sunday, we should see brighter skies for many central areas of the UK, but still some showers across the north. Again, these could fall as hail and with a risk of thunder across northern parts of Scotland. Through the Sunday evening and into Monday, the winds in the north should ease for a time, but for Monday daytime itself, we see further wet and windy weather return to the north and west. Rain should slip away gradually from southern counties, and we should see drier and brighter weather in the south and east for Monday and Tuesday. For more details, you can always head to our social media channels. Take care.
So that's our national weather forecast. I heard the S word mentioned there, the snow word. On our mountains in Scotland. So do you think we'll be getting a white Christmas? I don't think so, Sam. I think we're too mild this year, aren't we? I think it's going to be wet and mild. But looking at our own weather locally, this week definitely is a bit of case of wet and mild. Temperatures are going to be mostly between 11 and 13 degrees, and the week is going to be very, very changeable yet again. This sounds very familiar, doesn't it? We've had this for the last few weeks. But the nice thing is that because it is changeable, it is possible to get those nice little sunny interludes and those sunny spells. We've had a couple of those over the last couple of weeks as well. But we're going to have a high chance of rain most days, unfortunately. But the best days that are likely to be driest are Thursday and Friday, if we're going to get any dry spells at all. So we hope for some dry time on Thursday and Friday. Looking at traffic and travel, each week I seem to have brought up some major roadworks with some major diversions. You remember there's been a couple where the diversions have been sort of 40 or 50 miles. Well, this week there's some major roadworks going on in Dorchester. Now I thought I would mention it to you in case any of you are going to Dorchester or going to the hospital, because it is in the vicinity of the hospital on Bridport Road. And basically, again, the council have brought work forward that was due to be done in January 2021 because things are quieter. So from Monday, the 23rd of November, so that's 2 days' time, Bridport Road in Dorchester will be closed in sections throughout the whole week. During the resurfacing work at the top of town roundabout end of the road, the car park will remain open. However, drivers are advised to find alternative parking when possible, as there will be significant delays getting into and leaving the car park while the works are underway and the road is made safe for cars to get in and out. Drivers are also being advised not to use Poundbury Road in an attempt to travel round the works, as there will be no access from Poundbury Road onto Bridport Road during the resurfacing work in that area. So it is going to be some significant disruption there. But it'll be a good job done, and hopefully with roads quieter at the moment, the council have made a wise decision to do it at this time. Similarly, the works on Commercial Road continue in Weymouth, and they have focused down the other end there because the businesses are closed. And again, hopefully that means that work will complete earlier than expected and will cause less disruption than expected. On the trains, there are amended timetables from Southampton Central through to Clapham Junction and Waterloo this weekend, and also night time in the week ahead. And on Great Western trains, there are amended late night and early morning timetables through this week as well. So that's the traffic and travel. Recent weeks, I've tried to review a movie that's coming up and coming out in the run-up to Christmas. And I thought this week we would touch on the latest version of A Christmas Carol, the movie. Now, we've mentioned Christmas Carol already this evening. Now, I would say don't get confused, because there's Christmas Carol the movie, the new version that's coming out, and there is also, I believe, a BBC One dramatisation called Christmas Carol, and they are quite different. But we're talking about the movie. It's a radical animated retelling of the historic classic that starts with a Victorian performance of the Charles Dickens tale before diving into the imagination of one of the children in the audience, taking the story to a darker fantasy realm. It's due to be released on December the 4th. The classic tale unfolds in a rich tapestry of highly absorbing theatrical drama, featuring sumptuous visual effects inspired by the techniques of early cinema. In a daring twist of format, characters are portrayed by dancers and voiced by an eclectic cast of the world's most recognisable actors. The voice cast is among the voice cast are Simon Russell Beale, Martin Freeman, Kerry Mulligan, Daniel Kaluuya, Andy Serkis, Sean Phillips, and Leslie Carroll. Let's have a look at the trailer for Christmas Carol, the movie, coming out on December the 4th.
Is he the bad one?
Very bad.
And are there ghosts?
You will be haunted by 3 spirits. Let's all get back to normal. And what could be more normal than Scrooge and Tiny Tim at Christmas?
Bah humbug. I am the ghost of Christmas past.
Come in and know me better, man.
You fear the world too much. It was a long night, if it were only a night.
And how did little Tim behave?
Oh, as good as gold. As good as gold and better.
Nothing beats the power of cinema. What a cinema's for, to get lost in.
There you go. Originally, when that trailer was done, it's only in cinemas and theatres. We don't know yet quite how it's going to be released with the things as they are, but it is still on schedule for release on the 4th of December. Now, just touching on local events, of course, there isn't a lot going on. And we don't know what will open up again after the 2nd of December. So I'd certainly say, as I said last week, to watch the websites of people like Weymouth Pavilion, the Noth Fort, Sea Life Centres, those sort of people, to see what will be open and what will be on after the 2nd of December. We've also said that we will give a mention to any businesses that have asked us to. We mentioned last week Dorset Cake Company is now fully open. I think the White Shop has been fully refurbished. We also mentioned Crossways Travel, who have supported lots of charities in Wyke and across Dorset, who are doing trips from the 2nd of December. You can book those trips. If they are cancelled, you get a full refund. There's no issue with that. Do pop along to their website and see what they're doing. Also, a reminder that the Fair Trade Shop at the Town Bridge, although closed, is trading through its Facebook page, so look for Fair Trade Shop or Fair Bridge Trust. And also, I'd like to say, do support our local takeaway food businesses. You know, whilst our pubs and restaurants are shut, some pubs are doing takeaway food, but certainly our takeaways, our fish and chip shops, our Chinese takeaways, you know, McDonald's, KFC, all those sort of people are still trying to trade as best they can. So do support them. And, you know, do support those pubs that are open doing takeaway food as well. I'd certainly like to mention one, which is Bennett's Fish and Chip Shop, which I used last night and we often use. And I have to say, it's an amazing service. They have an app, or you pick up the phone and you order your food and it gets delivered by taxi for a very reasonable charge. And the food is always hot and fresh. So, you know, lots of other businesses are doing similar things. So do support them. Thinking of other things, obviously church tomorrow will be live streamed at 9:30. We've got our quiz this evening at 7:30, which will be running as normal, and we do have an evening service at 5 o'clock live streamed in the week as well. We are starting to put information out about Christmas and what's happening across Wyke at Christmas. So if you are doing anything Christmas themed and you're part of another organisation, do let us know. Send it into news@wykeregis.tv and we will add that to our programme next week, and we will share it with everybody because we do want to promote things that are happening across the town. Now, I thought before we finish tonight, I would share the latest safety video from the government on coronavirus. Just remind us how to stay safe at this time, and particularly with Christmas coming up. So I'll say goodnight to you, and I'll finish by sharing that video and look forward to seeing you at 6 o'clock next Saturday for the next version of our news programme.
As winter approaches, we'll be spending more time indoors. This will increase the risk of coronavirus spreading. The following reconstructions of everyday environments show why washing hands regularly, wearing a face covering, and keeping at least 2 meters apart is vital in controlling the spread. Coronavirus can live for more than 24 hours indoors. You could pick up or pass on the virus by touching a contaminated surface. Washing your hands with soap and water or using hand sanitizer regularly throughout the day will reduce the risk of catching or passing it on. Coronavirus can be found in tiny droplets coming out of your nose and mouth. Wearing a face covering over your nose and mouth reduces the spread of droplets carrying the virus. This means if you have it, you're less likely to pass it on to others. Larger droplets can land on other people or on surfaces they touch. Spreading the virus through droplets is most likely to happen when you are less than 2 meters apart. Smaller droplets, called aerosols, can stay in the air for some time, especially if there is no ventilation. So when you are with people not from your household, you must keep at least 2 meters apart. The risk of spreading the virus through smaller droplets is much less outdoors, where there is more ventilation. Wash your hands, cover your face, make space. These are the 3 most effective ways we can all control the spread of the virus. Remember, if you have any coronavirus symptoms, high temperature, a new continuous cough, or a loss or change in your sense of taste or smell, get a free test by calling 119 or visiting nhs.uk. Together, we will control the virus and stop the spread. Don't forget, hands, face, space.